Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! So this happened over the course of 2 weeks. The latest encounter with the entitled mother was yesterday. Everyone involved is me, my dad, my friend, nice officer, and finally the entitled mother. So I was going home after another training night in my local Air Cadet squadron. The parking lot was covered in ice and I was slowly looking down, making sure I didn't slip in the ice and ruin my uniform. In comes the entitled mother. She comes into the parking lot really fast, and by the time I look up, she's right in front of me. She almost runs me over, but I managed to jump out of the way. I was okay, but the uniform I spent hours ironing and making sure was up to standard was ruined. Needless to say, I was mad. It also sucked that no one saw this happen, and the conversation that followed was not that loud, so people that saw us talking just ignored it. I got up and saw my dad coming over angrily. The entitled mother got out of her car and stormed over to me screaming, "You should have been looking where you were going." And "What the hell is wrong with you, little crap?" My dad, who was waiting in his car, came over and quickly made sure I was okay. He then said, "You came into the parking lot at 60 kilometers per hour and you're telling my kid to be careful? There are lots of other people here and you could hit someone. Are you out of your mind? You need to shut up about us being careful." She says, "Well, I am late for a party and I need to pick up my kid before going there. And I'm running late. So you can go to hell." My dad looked at her in the maddest face I've ever seen him make and just said, "You could have killed someone. What do you not understand?" I quietly told my dad that I don't really want any trouble, just let it go. She won't do it again. We left thinking that it was over, but boy was I wrong. The next week I was leaving again and making sure to stay near the cars so I don't have to encounter the entitled mother again. But guess what? The entitled mother comes in again speeding, sees me and comes straight at me. On purpose. I jump out of the way again, ruining the uniform I spent a lot of time fixing. Now I am really mad. Unfortunately, my dad wasn't there yet, but thankfully one of my friends saw and came to my aid. He helped me up, and the entitled mother didn't even get out of her car. She reversed back, rolled down her window, and yelled at me to be more careful. I was done. I got up, gave her the middle finger, and quickly went back into the building so I could tell one of the officers there. I was done. I got up, gave her the middle finger, and quickly went back into the building so I could tell one of the officers there. I found one and told her what happened. She told me to stay inside and call the police. I called my dad and told him what happened, and he told me he is almost there. The dumb entitled mother was still waiting for her kid when the police arrived. When this happened, her first instinct was to drive away. She managed to crash into a pole and almost hit another car. The police got to her, arrested her, then talked to me and my dad and all the witnesses, including my friend. In the end, the entitled mother's husband took their kid home. I know him and he's a super nice guy. I felt bad that he got this will as a mother, while she was taken by the police. We were asked if we wanted to press charges, but my dad and I decided against it because we didn't really want to deal with it and also didn't want to ruin the kids' or husband's life because they were both awesome people. I'm still mad, but I guess I can forgive her. Maybe. Edit. To all of you saying that I should press charges, she already had warrants for her arrest, which might give her jail time. Me pressing charges would just make it worse. As much as she deserves it, I don't think I could live with the guilt that I just made someone's jail sentence longer. Edit again. I talked to my dad about pressing charges and he said he and my mom will make a decision. I will give an update if that happens. Well, an update. Charges are being pressed on the entitled mother. My parents thought about it and decided it was a good idea. I was sitting on a bus that was going to London as I was going on a 3-day trip that had cost me quite a lot of money. The bus had 3 seats rows and I was sitting by the window because I had paid extra to sit there because, well, I get travel sickness. I got on the bus and walked to my row, and lo and behold, furthest from the window was the entitled mother. And lying down on the two seats, including my seat, was the entitled child, about 8 years old. And I politely said, "Can you sit up, please?" The entitled mother jumps straight in and says, "My child can lie down. If my child wants to lie down, he can." I said, not quite sure what to do, being only about 17 and not used to having to deal with a situation like this. I just said politely again, "Please get up from my seat." The entitled mother said, "Go sit somewhere else." I refused, saying that I paid for these seats, and she refused again. So I went to the member of the staff at the back of the bus and told him, and he came with me. I explained the story and he got the child to sit up in my seat. I told the staff that the entitled child was in my seat. The staff said to the entitled mother and the kid that they would have to move. And the woman said, "Why should he move? You can just sit where I am." I explained that I paid extra and that I had travel sickness. And after some huffing, she got her child to move and put my bag under my seat, plugged my headphones into my phone and put my phone in my pocket. After about 10 minutes into the 2-hour trip, the entitled mother said in the most entitled mother voice imaginable, "Can my child play on your phone?" I grinned smugly and just said, "No." She looked horrified that someone had disrespected her little prince and whispered something in her son's ear. After 10 seconds, the boy started whining and saying that he wanted to play on my phone, and I told him no, and to stop bothering me. He kept going, and I, starting to feel ill, put on my headphones to listen to music, which helped me feel less ill. After another 10 minutes, the entitled mother whispered something in the entitled kid's ear, and he grinned. I thought nothing of it. After a little time, I felt something moving in my pockets, and I turned, and the entitled kid pulled my phone out of my pocket and turned away. I wasn't having this nonsense, so I told him to give me back my phone, and the entitled mother just started screaming, "If my child wants your phone, he can have it." I started feeling really sick at this point, so I opened the window. A member of staff, the one from earlier, came over after hearing the commotion, and the entitled mother said this little witch tried to steal my son's phone. And it happened. A second from when she said that, I spewed all over her son. She looked horrified and just pulled her son away. The staff member asked me what happened and why I tried to steal his phone, and I explained to him what happened and told him it was actually my phone and that I could sign in and that it belonged to me. He took the phone from the entitled kid and I signed in and showed personal photos and everything. And he went and told the entitled mother to get her child under control and gave her a towel to clean him up. Their seats were swapped with a nice older couple who were very sympathetic, and we talked a bit about how bad they were. But it wasn't over. The older couple had left their bags at the entitled mother and kid's seats, and vice versa. I was texting my mom and it happened. Suddenly, it was gone. I looked up and the entitled mother was standing there and screaming, "If my kid can't have your phone, you can't either." And she threw the phone out of the window. I sat stunned and I got up about to cry when she shoved me back and then slapped me in the face. Within 2 seconds, a member of staff grabbed her and restrained her, and the entitled kid stood there horrified. The bus pulled over and after 5 minutes a police car pulled up, and loads of people gave witness statements as the entitled mother and kid got bundled into cars. One of the police people came up to me and asked if I wanted to press charges, and I instantly said yes. After a while, once everything had blown over, I didn't really know what happened, but I heard that she went to jail. She got charged for my phone and compensation for the experience. Her face when she was shoved in the car pretty much said everything. Disclaimers. On mobile, English is a second language, not in the US. I just received the forms of this year's food festival and I was reminded of what happened last year. After the first quarantine, the mayor in my city decided to organize a food festival in August. Because it was a success, it has become an annual event. I've taken part in both of them and I'm planning to take part this year also. While most participants go with tried and true handheld to a degree recipes, I use it to try new things and maybe update my menu. Anyway, to the story. As a crew, we had the experience of the previous year of what to expect. I had gone with one tweak of a standing recipe. I had pulled pork sandwiches and one new one. The new one was a sandwich with smoked sausage, grilled onions, peppers and eggplant, and a feta cheese sauce. Since the opening hours for the festival were 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., we planned on having a 3-man crew, 2 cooks, 1 apprentice, on site with enough food to cover the rush hour for lunch, and restock when the crew changed at around 5 p.m. If they needed anything, they would give us a call and we would bring it from the shop. We were about 500 yards away. That fateful August day, we received a call from the crew around 1 p.m. that they were running low on vegetables and cheese sauce. Apparently, a cruise ship had anchored outside of the city's port and had departed most of their passengers for 12 hours in the city, and most of them hit the food festival. So I grabbed a portable fridge, loaded it with vegetables and sauce, and hit the stand. Having a pass, I moved fast through the entrance. 1 entrance and 1 official exit for both staff and visitors. But I catch some glares. As I stepped inside the food court, I noticed that almost every stand had a big line in front of them. As I move past our line to reach the stand's door, I hear people shouting, "Hey, where are you going?" and "Get back in line." I'm almost at the door when someone grabs my shoulder, which for various reasons, connected to my past, is not a good move. I turn around to see a gray-headed older man, dressed in classic tourist attire, light yellow shirt, khaki shorts, white socks and sandals and a hat. Tourist, still holding my shoulder, says, "You can't cut the line like this. People are waiting. First, remove your hand. Second, I need to cut the line. No, you need to go back in line." At that point, one of my cooks is almost hanging over the counter, waiting for the ingredients, and I'm starting to lose my temper. But I give another try. I say, "I need to go in there to go to." Tourist, now red in the face, shouting, "No, you need to get back in line and wait for your food. Young people these days." Well, that was it for trying. Time for my inner Neanderthal. Me forcibly removing his hand from my shoulder. Me not cut line. "You no eat. GG." He looked at me shocked. When finally my cook shouted, "Hey boss, can I have the stuff now?" I handed him the fridge and told him not to sell it to that guy. My cook's reply, "I know better than to feed wild animals." I worked at a call center for a collection agency for nearly 5 years. Anybody that has worked in this type of environment knows that there are all sorts of targets that are expected to be met, be they daily, monthly, or whatever. One of our targets was to make a certain number of calls per day. I believe it was 120. Naturally though, the more contact you would make with debtors, the less time there was to make other calls. It's usually not an issue, but some days you might make significantly more contact than others, and sometimes your call count might be like 2/3 of what it should be. We will get regular updates on the call count, and our manager would let us know if we were on track, and at the end of the day they will give you the final results. I found it very annoying when you would have a successful day collecting debts and generating revenue for the company, only to have a manager dwell on your call count. Any protest of, "Yes, I didn't meet the call count requirement, but hey, look at the revenue I generated today." It doesn't matter. The target must be met, even if it wasn't a successful day. But I knew I still ended up spending much time in contact with these debtors in an attempt to collect. I would ask managers to review my talk time to see that the efforts were being made to do what we are hired to do. But it doesn't matter. The requirement must be met. Now, to be clear, a call only counted if someone picked up or the call went to a voicemail box that wasn't full. The system was unable to register events otherwise. Not in service, voicemail, box full, rings out with no voicemail box or answer. Meaning, if you were to make hundreds of attempts in one day, only a fraction are registered. Everyone is aware of this, but it didn't matter to the company. Well, I was tired of the unfairness of it all. It also doesn't help that the company was grossly skimming our bonuses that my department's client provided to us as a reward for successfully collecting on these debts. It was really obvious when our bonuses became random numbers when it was only possible for them to be a multiple of 5s. It was really obvious when our bonuses became random numbers when it was only possible for them to be multiples of 5. Frustrated with this literal theft and underappreciation of successful collection, the whole point of the job, I decided to comply with the call count expectations and never be under the target again. I created a notepad file with a list of all the telephone numbers that went straight to voicemail. These are often numbers that have blocked us or presumably the owner of the number set up as away or something. From then on, I made sure to make 15 to 20 calls per hour that would register, implying that even more calls were being made that they just couldn't see due to the way the system registered calls. I would spread these calls out so my activity wouldn't seem suspicious. I would spend all day reading articles on the internet. Naturally, the revenue I have been generating decreased by about 80%. How come you're not collecting? Well, manager, you can see I'm surpassing my call count target and my talk time is very low, so I'm just not getting the opportunities to do so. It should be noted that whatever I was collecting after doing so was really easy. The people whose accounts we received who could pay and wanted to pay anyway. Often these people would call us, so I just relied on that to make it appear like I was doing anything at all. They started giving me lower value portfolios to work, which is fine by me. You are stealing my bonus. The very incentive I have to do more than a bare minimum anyway for a paycheck. I honestly thought I was quitting, but no, I had a reputation as a valued member of our department and company, so no one wanted to fire me. I guess they just chalked up my lack of success to the bad portfolios they were assigning me. Steal my bonuses and dwell on a target that would be better judged as a marker of effort rather than an end-all be-all, and I couldn't care less. I was getting paid to read. This went on for nearly 2 years until I had to leave for mental health reasons.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.